Vice President Academic Professor Dr. 𝗏𝗿𝗀 𝗏𝗏 Vice President Admin and HR Mr. 𝗿𝗚𝗏 𝗏𝗏, respected faculty and scholars. Assalamu alaikum. We are the masters of ceremony for today. I am Diya Azim.
And my name is Adil Bashir. It is an honor to welcome you all to this year's Social Sciences Conference at ZABIST. This gathering goes beyond an academic event. It serves as a platform for a meaningful dialogue, intellectual discovery, and the exchange of ideas that deepen our understanding of society, culture, and human behavior. Throughout this conference, we will be engaging in stimulating discussions and gain fresh insights with our esteemed keynote speakers and the panel that inspire meaningful action. ZABIST has consistently been at the forefront of fostering a strong research culture among both emerging and seasoned researchers. ZABIST is dedicated to sharing knowledge and empowering policymakers, practitioners, NGOs, and community-based organizations to implement impactful policies and practices in education and social sciences. It strives to build a resilient, just, and equitable society that upholds environmental sustainability, preserves cultural traditions, and promotes inclusivity and progress.
It is my privilege to introduce Professor Dr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏, Vice President Academics, a distinguished academic and leader whose career spans over 41 years of rich and diverse experience in higher education, teaching, research, and academic administration. Dr. 𝗏𝗏 holds a BE degree from NED University and was honored with the Science and Technology Scholarship by the Ministry of Science and Technology in Pakistan in 1987. He completed his MS and PhD coursework in computer engineering at Boston University, USA, and later conducted his PhD research at 𝗏𝗿𝗀 University. Dr. 𝗏𝗏's professional journey includes 17 years at SUPARCO, where he contributed to the development of two significant national projects, the 𝗏𝗏 missile and the 𝗏𝗏𝗏 satellite. He has also held prominent academic positions as head of the Computer Systems Engineering Department at 𝗏𝗿𝗀 University, Dean of the Engineering and Applied Sciences Faculty at 𝗏𝗃 University, and he has been serving as Dean and Vice President of Academics at ZABIST. Throughout his career, Dr. 𝗏𝗏 has received numerous accolades, including the Best University Teacher Award from HEC in 2010, a Gold Medal and Lifetime Achievement Award from the Pakistan Engineering Council in 2021, and recognition at Aiwan-e Sadr in 2022. He received a Gold Medal from South Asia Publications. We are honored to have Dr. 𝗏𝗏 𝗏𝗏 with us today, a visionary in the field of education and a true leader in the advancement of engineering and applied sciences. We welcome you on stage, Dr. 𝗏𝗏.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to everyone. On behalf of ZABIST University and its senior management, including Madam Shahnaz Wazir Ali, the President of ZABIST, Mr. 𝗿𝗚𝗏 𝗏𝗏, the Vice President, Admin and HR, and Madam Nasreen ul-Haq, Vice President, Finance and Development, I welcome you all to this prestigious occasion. Distinguished guests, esteemed speakers, respected colleagues, and dear participants, a very warm welcome to the third Global Conference on Research in Education and Social Sciences 2025. It is an honor to stand before you today as we embark on this two-day journey of insightful discussions, knowledge exchange, and meaningful collaboration. Jointly organized by the Social Science and Education departments, this conference is centered around the theme Fostering Inclusion and Enlightenment for a Sustainable Future. This theme underscores our shared commitment to building a society that is not only informed and progressive, but also inclusive and sustainable. According to the theme of the conference, promoting inclusivity and enlightenment is essential for building a sustainable future. Inclusion means, and that ensures that diverse perspectives contribute to social and economic progress, reducing inequalities and encouraging unity. Enlightenment driven by education and awareness empowers individuals to mark informed decisions, embrace innovation, and promote ethical responsibility. Together, these themes create a foundation for sustainable development that benefits both people and the planet. We are privileged to have with us an esteemed lineup of keynote speakers whose expertise and contributions have left a significant mark in their respective fields. Allow me to extend our deepest gratitude to Dr. Ishrat Hussain, a distinguished economist whose insights continue to shape economic policies and reforms. Dr. Lima Salim from Indonesia, a scholar whose research has influenced education and social development. Dr. A.H. Nayyar, an eminent educationist dedicated to the advancement of knowledge and learning. Professor Sarah Francis from the University of London, joining us virtually to share her invaluable perspectives on education and inclusions. Beyond the keynote sessions, we have thought-provoking panel discussions addressing critical topics such as inclusive education, digital parenting, and the role of AI in indigenous languages. Additionally, we look forward to engage deliberations on subjects like sustainable economies and the future of higher education in Pakistan. This conference is not just a platform for an academic dialogue. It is an opportunity to forge connections, inspire change, and contribute to the collective advancement of education and social sciences. I am thankful to Dr. Riaz Sheikh, who is the Dean of Social Sciences and Education, and Dr. Najmun Issa, who is the head of Department of Education. They have, arranged this conference, and I think that you will find the sessions and topics and keynote speeches. They have organized this in a way that it will benefit not only to all the guests who have come, but also to the students as well. Once again, I welcome you all and wish you an intellectually enriching and productive experience over the next 2 days. Let us make this conference a milestone in our journey towards a brighter, more inclusive future. Thank you very much.
I would now request to introduce our first keynote speaker, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, who served as the governor of the State Bank of Pakistan from 1996 to 2006. He was the dean of the Institute of Business Administration from 2008 to 2016 and an advisor to the Prime Minister on institutional reforms and austerity from 2018 to 2022. Sir, I request you please be seated on stage.
Our next keynote speaker is Dr. A.H. Nayyar, a Pakistani physicist, author, and a consultant on the issues of education, nuclear safety, and energy. His field of specialization is in the physics of condensed matter, and he served in the faculties of Quaid-e-Azam University in Islamabad from 1973 till 2005 and the Lahore University of Management Sciences. He has directed research programs at the Sustainable Development Policy Institute in Islamabad. We welcome you on stage.
It is my pleasure to now present Dr. Lina Salim, an esteemed lecturer at the Atmajaya Catholic University of Indonesia. She has a PhD in economics from the Northern University of Malaysia. Ma'am, I please request you to please be seated on stage. Now I would like to request President ZABIST, Madam Shahnaz Wazir Ali, to please be seated on stage. Professor Sarah Fernandes from Royal Holloway University of London will be joining us online in this session. We now invite the first keynote speaker to please come on the rostrum, please. Dr. Ishrat Hussain.
Madam President, members of the faculty, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and dear students. It's always a great pleasure for me to come to SZABIST, which I have been doing for a very long time, particularly because I feel that I get inspiration from the young men and women who are attending this institution. And I want to congratulate SZABIST for continuing this practice of having these global conferences so that the students can be exposed to the latest developments in the social sciences and education. I would like to preface my remarks that the world is going through very major changes. And when you prepare yourself for the future, you should not look to the past and to your parents or your brothers and sisters, because if you do that, you would be very much misguided. There are many trends which were not present even in the early 21st century. For example, we were all basking under the glory of globalization, where trade, capital flows, migration, and technology transfer have actually helped improve the standards of living of people in developing countries, reduce poverty from 2 billion people to 600 to 700 billion, boosted the incomes of the developing countries equivalent to that of the advanced countries. So this has been a very positive era in the history of economic development. Unfortunately, since 2016, we are seeing a reversal of globalization, with both Trump and Biden administration coming to power in the United States, which is so far has been the hegemonic world power. There is a tendency towards isolationism, inward looking, and what I call as a protectionism. So they protect your own industry and discourage international trade. And this is because one of the developing countries, China, which had $200 per capita income in 1980, has now gone to challenge the United States with becoming the second largest economy in the world and the largest world trading nation, and a leader in 53 out of 64 emerging technologies of the world. So it has shattered the confidence of the hegemonic power, and therefore you see this kind of tariffs and restrictions from the United States and followed by that Europe. So we have a very difficult situation. Second trend is that of climate change, and that is something which we do not really worry about. Your food, energy, and water security actually depend on the melting of glaciers and removal of all obstacles from the flow of the water, uninterrupted. But now under the climate change, the heating and warming is leading to flooding, is leading to heat waves, leading to abrupt and erratic trends as far as the climate is concerned. And we will suffer if we do not adapt ourselves to the drought-resistant, heat-resistant, smart agriculture, which will be able to feed us and our next generation. The third trend, which is going to affect all of you, and I'll spend a little bit of time later on this, is the advancement of technology. The speed with which technology is going to affect both our production processes and our standards of living is totally unanticipated. Nobody can anticipate. The jobs which existed 10 years ago will disappear. And we do not know what kind of new jobs will be coming on forth in the next 10 years. And this is a point I want to emphasize, looking at the younger people here. Pursuing degrees and pieces of paper, striving for good GPAs, memorizing the material and reproducing the material at the exam, and the teachers giving you the notes which they prepared long time ago, that is a passé. If you indulge in that, you will have a bleak future ahead of you. The word today is employability. That means lifelong learning skills. You have to keep on updating you. You have to absorb knowledge, you have to assimilate knowledge, and you have to apply knowledge to solve the real problems of your country, and that is what employability is going to be in the future. If you do that, you will continue to be a useful and a productive citizen of the country. But if you, in the rut of just getting a degree, 33% of graduates of Pakistani universities are unemployed because they have got degrees in the subjects for which there is no demand in the country. Therefore, it leads to the educationist, and Madam Shahnaz Wazir Ali has been a pioneer in this field. We have to rethink this whole compartmentalization of education. कि अगर आपने engineering में जाना है तो ये pre-engineering के subjects करो. अगर आपने medical में जाना है ये pre-medical. This is nonsense. We need a holistic, integrated, without any partition, without any boundaries. The students of social sciences should learn mathematics, should learn computer skills, digital skills, while the social scientists will prosper because they have the relevant skills, while the engineering students and science students should learn literature and social sciences because they become good human beings before becoming good professionals. And that, I think, is something we are missing. We have made these silos in which you have to fit in. The word today is STEAM education. It used to be STEM education. Now it is a STEAM education. Science, technology, engineering, and creative arts and mathematics. Why creative arts? Look at advertising. Look at accounting. Look at marketing. It is what your creativity is, which is going to bring you the dollars of the day. So you have to choose the profession or the line in which you feel you are comfortable, because there is no bar in going for music, for art, for performing arts, because those are creative professions and you can do very well in those. But first, you must be a good human being, a very good citizen, and then a good professional. That is the sequence in which, if you imbibe yourself, you would do very well in the future. So knowledge by itself is not useful. Application of knowledge to solve the real problems is what we require. I came last night late from Larkana, and I was surprised that there is no linkage between the universities in Larkana and the agriculturist the farmers or the businessmen in Larkana. This is not just one city. I go all over the country. The academics do not talk to the businesses. They do not talk to the agriculturists. They have problems which require the attention of the academics. But the academics are writing esoteric papers to be published in the refereed journals, which can be read by only 10 people. I did my PhD in economics a long time ago. I can't read any of the latest journal articles because my knowledge is completely, outdated. This is only a dozen people who can read the refereed journal articles. But we have problems of all kinds, of population growth, of lower productivity in agriculture. We have non-competitive industrial sector. And this is what the students and the teachers of the universities should do. And finally, because my time is over, I want you to be looking at global village as your destination. Do not look just inside Pakistan. There are now opportunities for you to go to the advanced countries and learn and expose yourself, and that is what the world is going to be. Japan and Korea already have a lower population growth rate, and being culturally monolithic, they have opened up their doors for the first time to the foreigners, but skilled foreigners. And they have asked Pakistan to provide them 30,000 professionals by 2030. That means you have to be tailor-made according to the requirements of the Japanese, learn the Japanese language. So have the Koreans done that. And Germany is going to be next on the declining curve, and then other European countries. So you have an aging population in the West, and you have surplus youth population in India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And this will actually be the transfer from the surplus to the deficient countries, which will help all of you. So those who are always criticizing brain drain, I tell them it is not brain drain. It is brain circulation in a global village. You go, learn, expose yourself, imbibe the best practices, come back to your country, and make contribution. And I give you my own personal example. I was a civil servant, and if I had not gone to the World Bank, one day I would have become the governor of the state bank. But the 20 years of exposure to the different countries of the world have completely changed my mindset. I could not have done anything like this if I had stayed back in Pakistan only, because I didn't know what is happening in the rest of the world. But when I did that as a capsule as to what works and what doesn't work, I was able to make an humble contribution to this country. And this is my message, that don't be shy of competing with the rest of the world, because we are living in a global village. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Irshad Hussain. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Nayyar to share his words.
I wish to thank the organizers of this conference to have trusted me with this keynote address over here. I hope to try to come up to the expectations of the organizers. Looking at the topic of the conference, fostering inclusion and enlightenment for a sustainable future, what struck me immediately was that yes, The first two terms, inclusion and enlightenment, are the keys to a sustainable development. And these first two terms are the ones which seem to be something that we badly need and don't have. So we need to actually look into these two problems deeply and explore where we are deficient in these two aspects. A non-inclusive society, I'm claiming that our society is not very inclusive. So a non-inclusive society has some of the following characteristics. It fails to recognize, respect, and accommodate diversity. And people in such societies face discriminations based on gender, ethnicity, religion, disability, age, etc. And there are prejudices prevalent nearly everywhere in the society of various kinds. Disparity in opportunities, and social, economic, and cultural barriers preventing groups from interacting with each other and integrating with each other, the kind of thing that Dr. Ishrat Hussain pointed out. And individuals from marginalized groups face isolation and disconnectedness from the broader community. And that is what exclusion is. There's a set of people are excluded from the mainstream, etc. These are the characteristics of a non-inclusive society. And why we want inclusive society is because an inclusive society, by definition, values and respects diversity. It offers better chances of fair treatment and opportunities. And I'm talking of these things because then immediately you can see where we stand as a society in terms of inclusivity. Diversity, which allows a greater chance of creativity and innovation, is normally something which is detested by an inclusive society. Inclusive, we want an inclusive society because that is what gives chances for creativity and innovations. My laptop is jumping up and down for some reason. Helps build a sense of belonging and community among the people, among the groups. And it mobilizes entire population for a full potential, to exercise full potential as a workforce, leading to increased productivity and economic growth. So all of these are very positive aspects of inclusivity and inclusion in the society. And I am going to actually focus on this aspect because I see various ways in which inclusion is not quite present in our society, and I'll give examples for that. How can we make our society inclusive? We have various different ways in which you can bring people together, try and assuage hard feelings among people, try to bring them together. But I think one of the things that is important is education. Can education make us an inclusive society? This is where I think I should place a greater emphasis in my focus. Our society, somehow, from the very beginning, has thought that we are an Islamic society, and therefore we have to have Islamic learnings a part of our curricular studies in schools and colleges. This is what we thought. Sorry. From the day one, I noticed that right in 1947, November of 1947, we held a conference, education conference, first Pakistan's education conference. And therein, we claimed that since this country has been made in the name of Islam, we need to make people better Muslims. And therefore, we need to have Islamic studies a part of education curriculum in Pakistan. This was actually a departure from the colonial curriculum that we had, from which did not allow teaching of religion in schools, because religion can be divisive. This is usually the practice in Europe, where religion is not taught to all the students in schools. We started with that, and over the years, over the decades, we have sort of moved slowly away from it, not away from it, deeper and deeper into it. And this is where I think the way, we have diverged from our initial goal of creating a society, creating a country of where people could belong to each other and to belong to that society. Increasing religiosity in the society is also reflected how our curriculum, our learning material has become increasingly religious. I have a very simple example over here. When we take the name of Holy Prophet, we utter some blessings for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I noted that until 2010, the blessing words were sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were found to be not quite sufficient. So since 2012, we made it into sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then in 2019 onwards, we changed it to sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And since 2021, we turned it into Khatamun Nabiyyin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we have slowly increased all of this, and we thought that this is the way we are actually doing the job properly. And now we have actually a new authority in the country. The name of the authority initially was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam Authority. Now it is called Khatamun Nabiyyin sallallahu alaihi wasallam Authority. So all of these mouthful of things, actually I sort of point towards our inclination of going deeper and deeper into this practice. Also, I would like to point out how our learning material in schools has tried to go deeper and deeper into religiosity. Our first, we have had various different changes in curriculum over the years and decades. The major change came in 1979 during the time of Zia-ul-Haq, when we also had the Afghan jihad knocking on our doors. So we, at that time, we made a curriculum which was meant to Islamize the society. The curriculum contained particular wordings. दीन और दुनिया में कोई फ़र्क नहीं होना चाहिए, हर चीज़ जो है वो शरीयत के मुताबिक होनी चाहिए. These were the words used in the curriculum documents, and saying that your the curriculum that you make, the reading material that you make for the students should not separate deen or dunya. They should all be put together. Now this is how it started, and we all know how the curriculum changed at that time. But later on, also things just didn't just stop over there. I remember that in Musharraf's time in 2006, a new curriculum was made, 2006 curriculum. And eventually the curriculum, many people who were making the curriculum initially had to leave the exercise and resign and go away, because the curriculum eventually, towards the end, many people came in who sort of changed the color of the curriculum. And color of the curriculum was changed to this extent that I'm going to read out examples, that it sort of became more and more, although it was already, during Zia-ul-Haq's time, it was already a very Islamized curriculum. It again sort of changed even further. So for example, Urdu textbooks from grade 1 to 5 had one chapter in each book, Urdu textbooks. Aao Quran Padhein. And they were readings of Nazira Quran in Urdu textbooks. Now, if you have Nazira Quran reading in Urdu textbooks, it amounts to saying, this is not in Islamiyat, this is in Urdu textbooks. It amounts to saying that non-Muslim students will also be required to read Quran, required to learn the reading of Quran as well as meaning of Quran. Then a little there was a subject, general knowledge, introduced in 2006 curriculum, and from grade 1 to 3, some of the chapters were read and memorize Kalima Tayyaba in Arabic and with translation. So Kalima Tayyaba was something in a subject which was a compulsory subject to all the students, so therefore Muslims as well as non-Muslims were required to read. Small children, 5 to 10-year-old children, were required to read and memorize Kalima Tayyaba. This is what was introduced over there. I think the point is that people who were making this curriculum were imbued with so much of religious zeal that they thought that even non-Muslim students should also be able to read, should also be able to know all of these things and know them and read them. There were lessons on prophets, and the prophets were all Abrahamic prophets, none of the other leaders of other religions at all. So, and also asking students to learn the names and timings of 5 daily prayers, or learn about Islamic festivals, Eid festivals. So all of these were being taught in textbooks on Urdu. And this was being done with a sensibility, without realizing that there are non-Muslim students who would also be reading these things. These are in compulsory. Urdu is a compulsory subject. They will also be reading these things, and they will therefore be excluded. They will feel exclusion, and that exclusion will hurt this nation. Then came the single national curriculum. The single national curriculum came in 2018. And in 2018, the single national curriculum also had a large amount of Islamiyat included in Urdu and English textbooks. It was during that time that our blessings for the Prophet also increased in length. So in English textbooks, I saw a lesson in English textbooks of class maybe 8 or class 6, I don't remember now. There was a lesson in English textbooks in which all the blessings were written in Arabic words in brackets after the name of the Prophet. And there was a lesson on the Khulafa, the pious caliphs. And in that lesson, which was for class 5 or 6, all the blessing words were actually in Arabic, and I counted that one lesson had these blessing words 73 times in one lesson only. So wherever the name came, there were these words of blessings, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alayhi wa sahbihi wa sallam, etc., and radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and so on and so forth. All of these were written in Arabic. This was to be learned by non-Muslim students as well, and they needed to read these things also. So the book writers were completely oblivious of the fact that they were actually doing something which will be which will not be very useful or good for non-Muslim students. This was the kind of a process in which there was an exclusion. Your curriculum and your learning material was excluding, not including, not creating a kind of feeling among non-Muslim students that they belong to the same community, as if they are a different kind of. So this is how the curriculum went, and this is how it goes even now. So the point is that this discussion of inclusion must also include this particular thing, that in our case, in our education system, we do not have inclusion as one important ingredient. And also, the enlightenment that we thought we should have, enlightenment is all about rationality and reasoning things out, and logical reasoning. All of that is something which we know where we are. So I think somehow my laptop flickered so much that I left out many sections, but I think this is good for you. This is where we are, and I think our education system is not making us an inclusive society. It is making us a society which is sort of torn apart into various sections, into various groups fighting against each other. The kind of hell that we are in nowadays, where we have internal fissures in the society, is all because of introducing religion into our society, into our politics, and into our education system. I stop over here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. A.H. Nayyar. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Leena to share her thoughts.
Good morning. Are you in a good mood still? Okay. If you don't have a good mood, maybe ask for candy, yeah, from the committee. Okay. Actually, I don't know what to say again, because both of the keynote speakers already mentioned it all, right? But I'm sharing what I already prepared for myself, and hi, Professor Sarah. I hope that you are listening to us and can see us, right? Because she's alone there. We are a lot in here. Okay? And I saw the smile. I see the smile today. I hope that you are very healthy, very happy, because actually the theme for the conference is not easy to apply, right? It's not easy to implement it. Maybe because we have to see the reasons why we see that one. Actually, I already prepared my presentation, but it's no problem. I can read it. Okay, Professor Sarah? Professor Dr. Israt and Professor Dr. Nayar, they already mentioned many things. And I agree almost all Dr. Israt mentioned it. And I think I don't have to make a presentation again. Okay? We can see what we can listen to them. But I just emphasize it that who is our prospective persons in the future? Generation Alpha, right? Do you know Generation Alpha? It's not only X, Y, Z, and now Alpha. We go back to the number one again, A, right? That is very important. Why? Because they have characteristic is a bit different. For me, I can say they are a bit autism, right? When they sit in the table, directly what they say, what they see, what they do, their fingers are very creative, very, how to say, fast, right? So that is the generation that we're facing now. And I think some of you have that children. They're born 2012 until, around that one. And they are going a lot of, they need water maybe help. Need a water, right? Yeah. And also, they're connected. They already feel right now borderless, countryless. And they need a lot of education. The characteristic of this Alpha generation is one is about green environment. They agree with that. They are not happy if something happens with their environment. Is that true? Sometimes they give comments I think it's very constructive. And then why we need to focus on the inclusion, enlightenment, and also education roles. What is the roles of the education? A lot. We can promote about social justice. We can promote about tolerance. We can also enhance because of the tolerancy, because of the social justice, because they know about diversity and they know about innovation, creative, and to be a friend, partner with other people, with any religion, any race, any ethnics, so they can enhance and foster the economic growth. Are you agree with me? No. Oh, okay. Her thirsty? Okay. Committee, give water. Only water. And then the application. I think everybody, especially in the education faculty, they now have a challenge. Why? Because the behavior and the characteristic of the generation right now a bit different. Not a bit different, big difference. I'm already in education 35 years. And I met a lot of young people. With the young people that very polite, with the young people that very, how to say, high empathy, sympathy, empathy. Now they don't care. Okay? Okay? And when you are using the elevator, in the past, the student will run away. Teacher there. Lecture there. But now, no more. Who are you? I also want to use it. Right? That's only examples. But what should we do? What should we have to do with the sustainability of the world? Yes, we have to emphasize about the SDGs goals. 17, a lot, yes. And then 2030, they want to achieve three goals, the big goals. Reduce poverty. We hope it there. Right? Reduce poverty and then increase of course we have to increase the economics in every country. Although, in many places there are wars, right? I'm so afraid, like in other countries, Gaza, Palestine, or whatever it is, and also Russia, maybe we have to go there and make a conference about these things, sustainability of the world. What is the meaning of sustainability of the world? Like the 5 pillars from the United Nations. Remember that? Planet, people, prosperity, what else? Partnership and peace. They forgot about that. They only think about, I don't know, pride? Maybe. That is the important things. Whatever is the theory or the concept or the frameworks, but if you're in the heart, in the mentality, and also your heart is not peace, you cannot do anything. So the education, the important things like Dr. Naya said, religion. It's very important. Why you have to love other people? Why have to love the environment? Why you have to love the human being? Nowadays, we have to take care of ourselves because of many things happen in environment. Pollution, the food. Many food is delicious in the tongue, but not delicious for your stomach. Right? For your colon. The colon said that, what did you eat? Oh my God. The scream, you know. And then you make a big gold at the end. And then the big gold go to the land. And the land will be infected by what we eat. Many artificial, right? And a lot of people never trust themselves. Not only not trust themselves, not love themselves. So, a lot of operation, right? Is there anyone wanna make I think, want to make my nose go in front like Pinocchio because not very high. Or maybe my face is not balanced on the left and the right cheek. And then I go to everywhere. Maybe Korea, right? And then do tick, 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 tick. Go home. Nice. But how long? Maybe only 5 years. And after that, it means that you not accept yourself that God gives you already. That is important for us. That is education. Technology development is only supported our life. But the mental education about social justice, about how they accept other people with the people with weakness and also the strength. No jealousy. Is it easy? Answer yourself. Because I also don't know yet. Not easy. Because jealousy and then like other people things, belongings. Oh, you are handsome. I want to be like you. You are pretty. I want to be like her. And then I go to the doctor. Doctor, can you cloning me? Like this pretty woman? The doctor said, your nose is not high. So I put something in here. Become high. Your eyes is not so big. Okay, operate it. Woo! It means that the education have to emphasize about to know your self-concept. Is that true? Self-concept. Love what the God already gave it to you. Love it. And then don't forget to protect it by exercise. Right? Exercise and not eat a lot of I don't want to say a lot of fat, a lot of natrium, a lot of, I think the food people know about that. Okay, so my last presentation, because I know that already tired, some of you, okay? We have to concentrate on the generation Alpha. That is important. They are still young. So we need to give them, to promote to them about interdisciplinary collaboration, about inclusive and equality, about equality in any sectors and in any culture. Remember, we are different based on our culture, based on our race, based on our ethnic, but we are not different. We are the same human being. God's created us. Right? You agree with that? Okay. Who knows that? Maybe somebody said that, oh, I'm not from God. I'm from, I don't know, from Einstein maybe, or from other space. We never know. And then, don't forget, we have to foster or promote the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals awareness. That is important. Especially when we want to decrease the poverty, it means that you have to be equal. You have to see other people the same with you. If you have more, give to the last one. Like maybe you know the concept of pay it forward. I think everybody know pay it forward, okay? So we help other people without thinking that the person will help us. But other people will help, like a multiplier. If the president of Russia knows about this, maybe he will not take it through the bomb to, what's the name? Ukraine, right? I don't know what happened with him. Yeah? Maybe we have to pray for him. That is good. Mentality. No? And then we have to make a research about the 5 bottom line. The 5 pillar, or last time is triple bottom line. I like it because they put one peace. Peace and then prosperity. The prosperity means that we support the economic growth in other countries. We support jobs. Yeah, we support many things. We support especially the small, medium enterprises. SME is very important. And then we also have a partnership. It means that we try to make a fostering about the SDGs goals. SDG already published in 2000 something, but we cannot achieve all the goals. So they make it until 2030. I saw that young people in here. So you as a young people, you don't forget to join a community services. Okay, participation in the community. Yeah, because as a college student, you have a lucky opportunity to be a good person. Okay, good in brackets. What the meaning of good? Good means not only rich, okay, but you know how to handle yourself, how you be not very emotional. That is a good thing. Okay, so my last words is be yourself. Sympathy, increase your empathy, increase your sympathy. Tolerant, and make it equal in everywhere. And I'm happy because the president of this university is women. It's great. It's good. Equality already happened in SZABIST, right? Because in other people, in other places, women are at the back. Yeah? The back at me. Oh, I'm here. But women also don't do selfish, okay? Still you have to do your jobs as a woman, okay? Don't be snob. Don't be forget everything that as a woman you have something that is very important, especially taking care of the children. Thank you very much. I hope that you are happy. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Leena Salim. Next, I would request Professor Sara to share her words, who has joined us online.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. And to everyone who's present, good morning. I'm really sorry not to be able to join you. And like others before me, I'd like to thank the organisers for inviting me to participate, albeit online. And as always, Professor Riaz and his team have ensured that this has been a very positive process, so thank you. I'd also like to say that I feel a little daunted by following on from 3 such eminent speakers who've really, again, covered so much ground in terms of why inclusion and enlightenment are things that we must think about. So I'm going to try and contribute my thoughts, and my thoughts really as a historian first and foremost. But before I do that, I just want to think about the present. And I think really bearing in mind current attacks on equality, diversity and inclusion, so in other words, EDI, as they're often abbreviated to, arguably epitomised and being driven by developments in the USA, where commitments to EDI are being scrapped left, right and centre by the new Trump administration, with private corporations quickly following suit. It's all the more important to talk about why and how fostering inclusion is key to an enlightened and sustainable future. So the focus of this conference could not be better timed, unfortunately. However, whatever critics of EDI programs may argue, on the other hand, we're frequently reminded that, say, in the field of business or institution building more generally, diversity drives high performance and hence feeds success. I'm thinking, say, of one recent report that I came across, which argued that diversity has a measurable positive impact on business performance in a multitude of ways, from generating greater innovation, something that's already come up this morning, and skill sharing to increased productivity, higher revenues, let's say, and presumably bigger profits for those for whom profits are important. I'm also thinking of an August 2024 report here in the UK that was produced by a global high-tech company, actually, which highlighted that diverse teams deliver 60% better results and make better decisions in, it argued, 87% of cases. Indeed, if I quote one of I think it was its chief operating officer, with reference to the urgency of gender diversity, and this is what they had to say: companies cannot expect to remain competitive in a global economy if they are not tapping into 50% of the potential workforce. Therefore, recruiting a gender diverse employee population isn't just the right thing to do, it is also the smart thing to do. So you could argue that the business case for diversity is now stronger than ever, and diversity should be a priority for every organisation. And then what is it that creates diversity in such environments? Well, I would say that is inclusion. And inclusion in turn depends on an active commitment to equity, something that needs to be nurtured and supported, not just taken for granted. But as I said, I'm a historian and probably not the best person to discuss what business strategies work best. So what I'm going to do in the remaining portion of my allotted time this morning is to highlight where, for me at least, the issue of inclusion connects with my discipline, the discipline of history, and how we write, how we study it. And I think we can think about this from a number of angles. I'll just take a few of those this morning. And I think first there is the way in which the discipline of history itself has diversified to include a wide range of different historiographical and methodological approaches. Today we may take this diversity for granted, but the advent of new approaches to answer new questions was something that challenged and disturbed the history writing status quo, particularly from the middle of the 20th century onwards. So we're talking about social history, cultural history, history from below, history from the margins, women's history, gender history, the history of sexualities and so forth, just to name a few of the new ways, the greater range of ways in history in which history has come to be studied. These approaches now or at least some of them, so well ingrained in our collective understanding of what history comprises, makes it hard to imagine the discipline without them. They've transformed what historians do, and arguably have allowed the study of history to become more inclusive, precisely because it can encompass a much wider range of past experiences that point to and speak for the complexity of human experiences. Now, just to focus on Pakistan, we've heard already from another speaker about the challenges involved. So I'll just flag up that I'm sure everyone present appreciates that the history of history in Pakistan has not been a straightforward one. And I think with the advent of Pakistan studies, this became even trickier. We can see this, as we were already reminded earlier on this morning, from the very early days of Pakistan's existence itself. The challenge of how to root or place Pakistan historically that surfaced so soon after it had been created in 1947. And we've had reference to the conferences organised by the Pakistan History Board, held to determine the parameters of the curriculum to be taught in schools and universities. And I would just refer you to the work by the historian 𝗂𝗍𝗂 who in it has so masterfully really explained how a master narrative, let's say, was engineered, according to which the efforts of generations of previous Muslim rulers and subjects had culminated in Jinnah's Pakistan. Pakistan in 2025 is still juggling the legacies of its early years when it comes to the nation-building role, so-called, that history is expected to play, and which it could be argued, as I think we also were reminded very powerfully earlier on, results in or has resulted in a great deal of exclusion, in this case exclusion from the historical record rather than inclusion. And to share a salutary reminder, this time from the Columbia-based historian Mananasif Ahmed Asif, he made a comment back in 2017 in an article entitled "How Colonial Myths About the Arrival of Muslims in Sindh Still Divide the South Asian Mind." What did he have to say? He said, "Just as Sindh's past cannot be reduced to the history of one community, one sect, or one faith, so should we aim for an inclusive present for the province as well for the country." So historians, think about inclusivity and what an inclusive curriculum, inclusive and diverse curriculum means in practice. So secondly, let me drill down into why I believe inclusion is so important within the field of history. I would say that historians of the past have tended to focus on the establishment of historical fact. However, history cannot be studied in a vacuum, and researchers will inevitably be influenced by the social, cultural, and institutional landscapes in which they operate. After all, there is the well-known saying that, I might quote, "History is always written in the present," meaning that history writing reflects the context, the wider context in which it takes place, and so inevitably responds, I suppose, to these different concerns, priorities, approaches. So history in many ways is less about facts and more about the different ways in which the past has been explained and understood. In UK universities, there's recently been a lot of focus on what's termed decolonising the curriculum as a necessary step towards greater inclusivity and hence to diversity and ultimately equity. The notion of decolonising the curriculum for history is often framed by critics of this initiative as a mere trend or an attempt to rewrite history, but I think that that's really not true. What it really means is challenging dominant, in this case, Eurocentric views of the historical events that created an established narrative for the empire building that took place through colonialism. And so challenging that and creating space for alternative viewpoints and experiences is really what lies at the heart of this initiative. And the concept of interrogating, challenging historical theories, existing historical understandings and knowledge has always been fundamental to the study of history. Historical analysis is a dialogue precisely because it reevaluates positions based on new evidence. New evidence and research contribute to debates, but as a global society, we're changing, and that too affects the lenses through which we look at the past. So that idea of globalization, which we were reminded earlier on, is something that has changed or, well, had an impact, but is also changing is something that's affected history and has affected how history operates, and has affected our ability, our capacity, our appetite, really, to analyse historical events through different lenses. And then this takes me on to the question of the importance of respectful dialogue, because if you're going to have a more inclusive, say, discipline, in this case history, that immediately raises the issue of how do we conduct our dialogue within that when there are differing and sometimes opposing views. So if we want to try as educators to ensure a broad spectrum of inclusion, we have to create environments in which healthy, inquisitive discussions can take place with respect and without discrimination or inflammatory provocation. And that doesn't necessarily come naturally. We have to also embed skills acquisition into our teaching, the kind of skills that, I suppose, facilitate and enable that kind of respectful dialogue. And echoing the point made by the speaker before me, we're dealing with students who come of age during a time when they are really basically surrounded by echo chambers provided by social media, that generation alpha to which Dr. Salim referred. So we need to be conscious, I think, of the fact that the kinds of skills that maybe someone like me takes for granted are not a given, and we need to try hard to provide our students with the necessary tools to develop as debaters, critically engaging with important issues of the day. And we can do that both within the classroom or seminar room, lecture theatre, but also outside it. But if we can build up in individuals the confidence and the ability to voice diverse opinions with respect, but also with elements of kindness and compassion, we may go some way towards negating the negative impacts of binary and divisive, I should say, political discourses that have dominated in recent years. So for me, inclusion makes it paramount to foster respectful dialogue, precisely because this then enables the discussion of sensitive topics. So since I'm looking at my clock here on the screen in front of me, I just want to end my section of this morning's discussion really with some, I suppose, more personal thoughts, or at least thoughts that relate to my own attempts to foster greater inclusion and diversity within the classroom. I mean, after all, today's global challenges, so-called challenges that collectively we need to address and overcome, because again, the speaker before me referenced the social development goals. You know, this is something that many parts of the world have committed themselves to addressing by 2030. They require rounded resolutions that ban geopolitical boundaries. And I would say that studying history, and with it the capacity to collaborate, to interrogate, to incorporate and to understand, all helps to foster tomorrow's leaders with the vision and skills that we need today. So one of the ways that I try or seek to encourage my own students back at my own university in London to develop greater awareness regarding the importance of inclusion and diversity is to offer them the opportunity to connect the past with the present. So I run a module called Global Challenges, Historical Perspectives on the 21st Century. And in it, students write basically briefing papers that showcase historical case studies that contextualize current ongoing global challenges. And in the process, this helps to reinforce to them the need to, first of all, take an interest in the world around them. Don't forget, as I mentioned, a lot of young people are living in these, I suppose you could call them silos, in which, thanks to the algorithms that drive what appears, in their social media, on their phones, they see the world in quite a narrow way. So I want them to be interested in the world around them. I want them to think about how it might move in more equitable and sustainable directions. And so they work on topics that focus on real life issues that are both diverse and inclusive and, importantly, urgent. And in the process of doing this, they build skills and experience, which are likely to be very useful to them, but also to the societies to which they belong in the future. Of course, what history students should be learning more generally, wherever they are in the world, is the ability to ask questions, and critical questions at that. So I think critical thinking, and with critical thinking comes creative thinking as well. Again, going back to the point that was made by the first speaker, Dr. Hussain. These should lie at the heart of the portfolio of skills that, say, a history or humanities or social science student acquires. However unwelcome the ability to ask awkward questions might be in some contexts. We need to ask difficult questions if we're going to find the solutions to the immensely difficult problems that we face, individually, in our separate countries or globally. So I hope that by sharing these thoughts put together, I know in a somewhat random fashion and by a historian, I've helped to, make connections between a discipline like history, which sometimes people think is all about the past, but for me is equally about the present and the future as well, and the challenges bound up in creating the sustainable future on which all of our futures depend, and depending, or however we may choose to define the idea of sustainability. And my very last thought is just to add to what I think it was Dr. Hussain in his talk at the beginning highlighted. He referred to STEAM, I think it was, moving from STEM to STEAM. I would also wave the flag for another acronym, and that acronym is SHAPE. And SHAPE stands for Social Sciences, History and Arts. And in the UK at the moment, there's a lot of effort going into showing, the fundamental role of these disciplines in understanding our world and making it, hopefully, a better place. So thank you very much for your patience and for listening.
Thank you, Professor Sarah. Now for the vote of thanks. Mr. 𝗿𝗓𝗂 𝗖𝗲𝗂 is currently the Vice President Administration, looking after the administrative and human resource matters of SZABIST University. We welcome you on stage, sir.
It's not every day that you come across such galaxy of intellectuals and you then listen and learn their thoughts and their most stimulating talk. Sometime back we read a book which was like Why Nations Fail. And the basic theme of that book was that the nations fail when they become exclusive in their character. And it becomes all the more dangerous if they become religiously exclusive. Then it becomes really a lethal combination. So, which means that you are not only politically exclusive, but you are also religiously exclusive. And the pluralism and inclusion of a society, therefore, is ignored to the peril of that nation. We talked about, Dr. Ishra talked about challenges of the modern world, which is very important for the youngsters that are sitting here. And then we talked about the religious regression in which this nation has descended. But the important thing here is that we know that we have regressed, that we have gone into this morass of religious biases. But the issue here is how to handle that. This we know that every day we are going down and down, but the problem here is that we also have to address ourselves as to what is the remedy. And this is where we all have to sit together And there is a very small class of intellectuals who actually are proponents of the liberalism and inclusivism. But the vast majority, as we know, is led by those obscurantist people who have brought us to this state of affairs. One small thing, since history was also talked about, as humble students of history, we understand that the Muslims of subcontinent had always had this issue of identity crisis. That we lived with overwhelming Hindus and with Jews and with Buddhists and with Parsis for centuries in the subcontinent, but always made our connection with the Middle East. So whenever there was a civil war and the Muslim ruling class thought that they are being endangered, what they did? They called 𝗥𝗲𝗀𝗿𝗲 from Afghanistan. So we had this problem of identity. We were living in the East, but we had our connections with the Middle East. As a result, we are neither here nor there. Thank you very much, gentlemen, lady. And thank you so much for participating. It was truly a stimulating talk. And while the youngsters must have learned a great deal, we at this mature age also learned. Thank you for your attention.
I request Mr. Imtiaz Qazi to please remain on stage. Now I request Madam President Shahnaz Wazir Ali, Vice President Academics, Professor Dr. Altaf Muqati, and Vice President Admin, NHR, Mr. Imtiaz Qazi, to present the token of appreciation to our keynote speakers. Now I request Dr. Ishrat Hussain to please receive the keynote appreciation.
Now I request Dr. A.H. Nayyar to please receive his token of appreciation. Now I request Dr. Leena Salim to please receive her token of appreciation. Thank you so much, everyone.